For more great retail real estate content, like, share, and subscribe. If you are watching this video, it's because you are well into the space search process. So let's take a minute to talk about tours, because this is a really important part of the process that's actually really different than a lot of people think it is, especially if it's the first time you're doing this. So let's jump right into it. The first thing to know, sort of conceptually, is that space tours are a lot more like a job interview and a lot less like shopping or even taking a car for a test drive. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you go to check out a space, you are having a tour with the landlord's broker. So that means that both you and the landlord's broker are going to be deciding whether or not you want to move forward with the deal. So in a car test drive, right, you have an idea of what cars you want to drive, and then you go out and it's super exciting and you get to drive around and then decide, like, are you interested or not? And the salesman's just trying to make a sale. That's not what space tours are like. Space tours are a lot more like job interviews, where you are showing up, you're trying to determine if this space is right for you, if you're interested in pursuing a deal here. Does it work for your business? Can you imagine yourself here? But the landlord's broker is also trying to determine if it's in the best interest of the landlord to start negotiating a deal with you. So it is not a one-way decision where you're determining if you like it. It's like you are determining whether you like it, but also the landlord's broker is determining really if they like you and your business. So it's really important just to keep that in mind as you sort of think about approaching tours. So it's something really to take seriously. So we're going to talk about three sort of main points to make sure that you're as prepared as possible. The first point is that you want to show up to tours warmed up. That's why you want to do the pre-tour screen. Now, there is a form available in this module. We really ask you to visit spaces prior to requesting a landlord, like a broker tour, because there's many times where you show up to a potential space that looks good on paper and you get out of your car and you're like, oh no, this is all wrong for this reason or that reason. But that's a really common occurrence. And it's really important that you make that determination before we arrange a tour with the landlord's broker, because then we're really using their time. And, we want to make sure that we're being really judicious about the professional element of making sure we're using people's time wisely. So absolutely pre-screen spaces before you request a broker tour, because you want to make sure you're showing up with a general knowledge of the space already. This is a great time to ask questions that show that you are prepared, because that's really going to show the landlord's broker that you're serious and that you're the type of person who does their homework. So definitely utilize that the pre-tour screen. The next piece to know is that just like in a job interview, you and anybody you bring with you are going to be judged. So in most circumstances, we really ask that it's just you or you and your business partner, anyone who's super tight to the deal, and your broker participating in the first tour. So what this means is that when you're showing up for a broker tour for the first time, you have not yet engaged, you have not yet started the process of trading paper or of negotiating an LOI. So the landlord, and by way of their broker, has not yet determined whether they want to do a deal with you. So it's really important that the people who the landlord's broker meets are like super knowledgeable about the process and are coming off as prepared and sort of professional as possible, because you really do want to make your best impression. So keep in mind that if you proceed with negotiating a deal, there will be many opportunities for you to bring other people back to the space to show them. There will be plenty of time for you to bring your spouse or your mom, or of course you will end up bringing like your architect or your contractor, but you really want to sort of keep those visits for after you've already started the negotiation, because you want to really be coming off as professional as possible. Because you can imagine that, you know, if you are Starbucks and you're going to look at a space, the only people who are involved in that first tour are all going to be professional. So that's who you want on the very first tour. Now, there may be cases where your broker encourages you to bring an architect or to bring your general contractor because of various reasons. If they tell you to bring somebody, that's a really smart idea to follow that advice. But it's really not the best time for you to bring anyone who like hasn't watched all the videos you've watched or doesn't really know all the ins and outs about the deal, because you can read our blog post about your Miranda rights, but like keep in mind that anything you or anybody with you says during a broker tour can and will be used against you. Now, that's not to scare you, but it's like we can't always control what the people around us say, and we really want, but like you can't unsay things, right? Landlords, brokers are not going to unhear things that maybe give them pause or maybe make you look like, you know, oh, this is clearly their first time. So we just want to minimize any sort of opportunity for things to show that like this may be your first time doing it. We really want to come out strong. So that's really the second point to know. And then the third piece is that you really want to be prepared with your elevator pitch, right? You want to be able to answer the question of like, what is your business? What are you doing? So you want to have that short, like 30-second pitch to tell the landlord's broker what it is that you want to do in this space. What is your business? What is your value proposition? Because again, they have not yet decided to engage in a deal with you. So this is your opportunity to, you know, if you're interested in the space, to really make a great impression and to make them walk away from this first meeting saying like, wow, that person really knows what they're doing. This is great. Like they really have a vision for what they're doing. They're prepared. They ask smart questions. I think it's a good idea for us to go ahead and negotiate a deal with them. So those are three, you know, big things to keep in mind that you really want to be prepared going into it. You want to put your best foot forward when you're there, and you really want to keep in mind that it's not just you. This is not you shopping. This is you basically on like a job interview for a space. So of course, ask us any questions that you have. Your broker's here to answer questions, but the tours are really, really important parts of this process.